From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with a special tape broadcast this weekend morning. In this recording, we'll go over that fourth stimulus check update of 2021 and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then we got to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to the American people. Then in the final 15 of the final 7, we'll be seeing a lot of major breaking details about the votes, the bills, the dates, and everything you need to know. We'll be going over the infrastructure, the roads and bridges, the bipartisan, and we'll be going over the recon. Which one is being progressed along quickly by Chuck Schumer and which is not? And why is Chuck Schumer quiet on one subject? Why was the emergency meeting by Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders? What happened to the eviction moratorium? And why is LA so upset about a provision added into the roads and bridges overnight that I never saw coming? In fact, no one saw coming. Are we being ambushed at the 11th hour about something that has nothing to do with roads and bridges? I'll explain all the details in the final 15 minutes of this video. It's a doozy. And normally I would add fifth stimulus in here, but in a real tribute to over 1 year of reporting on this channel about rent protection, eviction moratorium, I am replacing that today in this recording to go over what the president did not do for the Americans' renters overnight. Then we cut to this. Then we cut to the big money across the board. $5, $10, $15, $20,000 that viewers continue to get. And the numbers you're getting are astronomical. Like Tiffany, who got over $30,000 to this channel in the last 48 hours. And Mark getting over $30,000 as well. I'm going to show you how you get this big money for rent, utilities, and also SNAP. It's a big morning. The toast is toasting and the butter is buttering. I'm excited for you to be here on this big morning's broadcast, starting right here, right now, from Santa Monica, California. You're having a beautiful weekend morning. I'm specially with you taped this morning due to scheduling. So this is not a live broadcast, but a tape 1 minute before it airs. How are you? It's beautifully cool here. It's beautifully cool at night. The sun is not blistering hot. There's a nice breeze on shore here in Santa Monica. So hopefully you have great weather as well. Jump in the live chat. I'm so excited for you to join me. And thank you for all your patronage this last week. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and how many checks you're likely to get and why you're likely to get more checks because of the changing face of the pandemic. Then we cut to the recon, a done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. I'll go over what some of these checks are for. It's for everyone. And this is not third stimulus. This is not the children's checks. This is for seniors and workers and everyone else. Then in the final 15 minutes of the final part of this video, we'll go over what's happening in these last 7 days, potentially. Chuck Schumer represents all the bills will be done by the August recess. But why has Chuck Schumer not been speaking about your recon in recent days? Am I cause of concern? And why was there 3-4 emergency meetings in the last 2-3 days? I'll go over what those emergency meetings are, what bills are set for a vote, what bills are not set for a vote. And finally, normally I would go to fifth stimulus, but because of the developing details that are happening in breaking news this morning about the eviction moratorium, I'm dedicating that part of this video. And over 1 year of reporting on rent, which was a series on this channel, which I ran every single day throughout the realm of the pandemic, I'm bringing that part back into this video because of what the president did not do for the American people overnight. And then we cut to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get, like Nisi, $23,000, Richard with $22,000, and Nancy with $30,000, and Mark with $30,000. I'm going to show you how you get this big money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live normally in the morning like this broadcast normally is, but it's taped today, and then taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is noontime LALATE, and then afternoons LALATE, and evenings LALATE. All new shows today, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Thank you for your patience this last week, one of our biggest growth weeks ever on the history of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. You see the breadth of coverage and the breadth of detail you only find on this channel. And we're trying to keep everything on point. even when they try to ambush us with details overnight. That's coming up later in this video. Yeah, you'd never seen crypto in a stimulus channel recording until today, when they put stimulus with crypto in a roads and bridges provision. Kristen, I see what you're doing. It's coming up later in this video. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. You'll see all of what's going on. Trust me, it is really shocking. It's coming up in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. But first, let's get to that monthly stimulus check. For stimulus check, Senate versus House. Well, the House bill provides a stimulus check for the remaining of the pandemic plus 1 year. But the question is, when's that pandemic over? Well, 4 weeks ago, we thought it was over. It ain't over, folks. So pandemic plus 1 year House plan, Senate plan, July to December monthly stimulus checks. House bill is a payout of $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. The Senate amount monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. When you look back and understand how this society changed in just 5 weeks, it's really surprising. 5 weeks ago, we thought that the House bill would just be reduced to 1 year checks because the pandemic may be considered over. 4 weeks ago, we realized it's not over. 3 weeks ago, we realized it's certainly not over, absolutely not over. 2 weeks ago, we realized it's far from over, and now we realize it just has no horizon to be over at the moment, which means that the House bill would pay more than 1 year checks, which would be more than 12 checks, which would calculate out as more than $13,000. Let's compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion of this morning's broadcast, this beautiful weekend morning. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from this beautiful weekend morning and how the weather is. Well, who gets a fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that everyone who got a third gets a fourth. A single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. You just quadruple it. Family, you married couple, you double it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. I learned that overnight when I went to Ron Portman's Pork Belly Lobster Fest. He had one too. And I saw him from afar. I said, there's Ron Portman. Let me go up to the illustrious senator. And I walked up. I said, hello, Senator Portman. Hello, LALATE. I recognize you from your purple shirts. Well, thank you. And I said, I wanted to come up and say hello and introduce myself rather than waving from afar. Yes, LALATE. I'm not a waivable check. I know that, Senator Portman, and you're the guy that said to Americans, get back to work, you're very lazy. So, Senator Portman, can you get back to work, you're very lazy? Get out of here, LA. I just had to say that. He called us lazy. I had to call him lazy at least once. So there you go. Just kidding. The fourth stimulus check debate heats up all weekend long with those legislators working on this all weekend long. But the recon is the second part of this video. I'll be going over the $3.5 trillion of checks that the Democrats are giving you. It's a done deal as to the price and as to the agreement to do it. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people in this recon. It's checks for seniors, checks for workers. It is not the third stimulus check, checks for only children. This is fourth stimulus. In the second half of this video, we'll go over that as well. Then in the third half of this video, you will see 15 minutes of jam-packed news as to the vote, the bill, the date. There was another vote on a bill yesterday. What was that vote for? Is there another vote set for this weekend? And then why do we have one thing moving at a certain pace and another thing? What did Chuck Schumer not say that's causing me concern? Why were there 3 emergency meetings? And was one of them about Chuck Schumer and what he's doing and not doing? I have all the breaking news. And then, as I said early in this video, usually I go to fifth stimulus, but there's been breaking news overnight about what the president has not done about eviction moratorium. And you know I sometimes have an opinion. I really have an opinion about this one. So I'm going to be going over what happened with the eviction moratorium overnight in the place where we usually have fifth stimulus. But first, let's get some money. And I have to assert something here personally. I'm going to get to rent money right now. And you're going to see later in this video that the president says, well, I'm not doing the eviction moratorium because there's rent available out there for you to go get rent money. I have a half a dozen volunteers that are salt of the earth. I have viewers who are very sophisticated who are searching for this money. This money is not easy to get. This is not easy to get. Why would I be making videos about how to get the money if the president was correct that you can just call up and get $20,000? So, Mr. President, if you're watching this video, understand your claim that this rent money is so easy to get is absolutely categorically untrue. That's why I have to make videos about it. If I didn't have to make videos about it, it would be so easy to get the money. So you're going to see that coming up later in this video. I told you I had a lot of opinions this morning. So let's get to some money that the president claims that's so easy to get that it's just, snap and here it is. You've been doing an incredible job despite the president's representations that it just sort of miraculously appears. Richard, congratulations, $22,000 for rent. Angela, $5,000 for utilities. Mark got $25,000 for rent and $6,500 for utilities. The numbers are astronomical. And what's going on? I'm going to show you how to get this money for rent, utilities, SNAP, and also homeowners utilities as well. And you get a pen and paper ready because this is a lot of money. This is what this channel does. If you're new to this channel, what's going on? Let's cut back to spring of last year. This channel launched because the EIDL loans and grants was not being paid. So there was no check to track, but we cash checks. I got viewers, $25 million of EIDL loans approved. And then in fall of 2020, second stimulus was not coming, so there's no check to track. But I got viewers $250,000 of rent checks, like Tyrone, family of four out of Boston, paid all his rent from last year to now. But now you're doing it, and boy, your numbers are absolutely incredible. Several weeks ago, I was recording videos where I said I can get you under third stimulus, $5,000 for rent, 46 months of rent. Now you're getting $25,000. Nancy got $20,000. Richard got $22,000. Mark got $25,000. Nancy got $24,000 for rent. For utilities, I said I can get you $300 for utilities in the videos. Now you went from $3,000 for utilities to $6,500 for utilities for Mark and $7,000 for Nancy, $1,500 for Carla. And the numbers keep on going on. Randy got $2,000. Then when we talk about SNAP, I said I can get you $5,000, $6,000. Viewers are now getting $18,000 like Louie, and John $10,000 to $12,000. Let's go over all the deliciousness starting right now. Get a pen and paper ready. Where do you get this money? I'm going to show you different places with different pots of money that also have different eligibility. You're going to reach out to each of them. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also, listen to the keywords because those keywords are really important for getting approval. Are you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's popularity contest. Did he beat Ron Portman? I don't know. And there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money for rent. If you got money for rent or utilities, post in the live chat right now. Let's get to the next pot of money. It is SNAP. And SNAP is a fortune, as I said earlier in this video. Louis got $18,000. Congratulations, Louis. And John, $10,000 to $12,000. Congratulations. And who else got it? Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, her mom. Gail got it. How much money is it? It's a fortune. What is it? First, SNAP is money for food. SNAP is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a third stimulus check. And how much does it pay? A lot. A family of four out of Boston gets paid, actually out of Hawaii gets paid out upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. There you go. You're getting $20,000, $25,000 for rent from this channel, $8,000 for utilities, $7,000 for utilities, $18,000 for SNAP, and we are only 13 minutes this video. I got more money for you right now, and it's coming back from your states. One viewer got $3,000, another got $5,000, and one got $2,500. What is this for? This is the refund check due to overpayment and computer error. Where's the landing direct deposit? Can you track it? Yeah. Go to IRS. I'd go to your state and reach out to your state's unemployment office and say, "Hi, state. Where's that check to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually has a keyboard?" And finally, the last wonderful pot of money coming back is that refund check from IRS for that 2020 tax return. Margaret got it, Kai got it, Michael got it. Congratulations. But if you haven't gotten it, don't worry. It's a waivable check. Just don't wave back at it. It's actually a waivable check. The latest wave went out just a few days ago. $1,265 was the average payout. Whoa, deliciousness. Direct deposit started July 14th and paper checks July 16th. There's a new wave every week. So before I go over how much you're getting, let me go over something you need to know. If you haven't posted in the live chat the success you've gotten for rent, utilities, food, or internet, please do, because every time you do, you're helping other viewers. The spirit of this channel is helping one another. A lot of love. 3 things happen to others when you post your success stories in the live chat. Your success story could be $1 you got. Number 1, you inspire other people to get money. So when I started reporting these numbers and the numbers started getting bigger, more people started getting the money. I saw the surge of people really now realizing I should get 20,000, I should get 5,000 or 10,000, 15,000. Number 2, you inspire people when you get multiple sums of money. So Art Sullivan got 3 items, Nisi got 3 items, and started the domino effect as other people are getting 3 items. Nancy got 3 items, totaling over $30,000 just from my videos. Mark got 2 items, totaling over $30,000. Mark, go get the third and get it to $40,000. We had Carla got 2 items, and then we had Tiffany get 3 items, getting to her almost about $17,000, $16,000. So go get 3 items, and finally, it updates us about the items. All right, let's cut back to that IRS money. Where's it landing? Direct deposit, although it's in the mail. Which month? This month. How much? Let's say you had $9,000 in total unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Can you track it? Yeah. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search, and it'll reveal the taxes you've paid and the tax return you filed. It will also reveal stuff you didn't want to know and you wish you forgot. It'll reveal. When Mitch was on Star Search and he sang that lullaby song to Chuck, was it Slave to You by Britney? Can we top that? Yeah, it also may 70% of the time reveal the refund check you came back from IRS. We can't top that as we go into the second part of your 4 stimulus check update 2021, starting right now. So here we go. Done. Deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the 4 stimulus recon. The recon, reconciliation, is checks, just checks for the American people, and there'll be $3.5 trillion of checks. This is not children's checks. That was 3rd stimulus. This is 4th stimulus. There's checks for seniors. There's checks for workers. A lot of checks. And I'll be going over more of those checks in just a second. How did we get to this spot? It's important to understand how we got there, because now as we get to the finish line, there's a push to do things a little bit differently, and you have to remember how it was done before. Initially, the recon had roads and bridges in there, and certain Democrats said, I'm not voting in favor of it because it's too big to take the roads and bridges out and put into the bipartisan. That shrunk the recon and made the recon passable. It's now passable because they've agreed. Over a week ago, they agreed they're passing it with a $3.5 trillion price tag, and they agreed they're passing it as so authored. Now, all they have to do is call the vote on the bill. On the roads and bridges side as well, it's now passable, as it has won now 2 votes in less than 48 hours. More about those votes coming up in a second. We have that confirmation coming from conservative publication even before these votes. The conservative publication confirms my reporting that says that the higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put in the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. There you go. In fact, it did. The recon is now passable, and the bipartisan is also passable. They've both been confirmed by caucus meetings and also votes. More about that coming up in a second. Once the progressives were able to shrink the recon, taking roads and bridges out, they were able to grow it back out a little bit by adding stuff in and getting to a price tag they love. $3.5 trillion, done deal. And that is really the celebratory stop. Elon Omar, Democrat out of Minnesota, progressive, said, we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. $3.5 trillion, congratulations. And Representative Richie Torres, Democrat of New York, says we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. The progressives were meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon went big enough, and got it, $3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By protecting the recon, because everything that's in the recon is checks, and everything about those checks is progressive policies. The White House had told Brian Schatz, Democrat, and Jalapal, Democrat, both progressives, to protect the recon. Quote, the White House considers progressive priorities in the recon their own priorities. So there you go. So what is a recon? How does it get written? Who votes on it? When do we see it? What is the difference between a recon and a bipartisan? And what are those other words I'm hearing? Let me explain all the details for you right now. In the last week, I give broadcast media and print media a C to F plus on their reporting of the subject matter. Why? Because one, they're often using the wrong term to describe the wrong path, Or two, they're actually just giving wrong information. They're confusing the two paths. It would be so much easier if people just used two words in broadcast media, but because they're using multiple words, they're confusing themselves. I'm going to show you what the different words are so you're never confused. On this channel, I just use two words, recon and bipartisan. Recon, your money. Bipartisan, roads and bridges. That's easy for us. It's the problem is the other people, including the president, uses other words. So let's hear their other words so we won't get confused ourselves. Recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. You'll recognize it by its price tag, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people quoted in the article about it, like Bernie Sanders, AOC, or Nancy Pelosi. Bipartisan is also called roads and bridges. It's also called infrastructure. You'll recognize it by its price tag, less than $1.5 trillion, and you'll recognize it by the people quoted in the article about it, a Ron Portman, Mitt Romney, a Kristen Sinema. All right, that's pretty easy. Who writes the recon? The recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. GOP has nothing to do with the writing. Who actually puts pen to paper? Subcommittee members of the House of Representatives. House subcommittees are the actual lead authors, Democrats, but they also get the assistance of some Senate subcommittee members. Under the Constitution, subcommittees of the House are delegated different subject matters. For example, House Ways and Means is responsible for stimulus checks and unemployment extension of benefits. Those are their subject matters. When all those subcommittees are done, let's say there's 10 of them and they've written 10 pages, they send those 10 pages up to Chuck, it becomes 100 pages, and he puts a big bold S on it for sugary. Salty, seductive, so what? Schumerish. No, for Senate. For Senate, that becomes your reconciliation bill. More about that in a second. But before we have a bill, we have an emoji. Not bill yet. We have an emoji on this channel for my Purple Hawks. Not bill yet. And the reason why it's not bill yet is because the Democrats don't have to show you what they're doing. Sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album. Don't want to show you what's in there and wants to keep the element of surprise. And while they're working on things in the subcommittees, there's no constitutional requirement. They show you what they're including or not including, taking in or taking out. That's all easy breezy. And when it lands in the Senate, that's not the final bill either. More about that later in this video. But so if you do hear someone saying, I haven't heard about this in the recon, the reason why I haven't heard is because we don't have the recon, not bill yet. How do we get to this wonderful spot from Jalapal, who had written Schumer recently a letter said, Chuck, call the vote on the recon. This letter, Jalapal, is really important. Can you resend it today? You're going to see why later in this video I'm saying that she should resend the letter. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100 plus, yes, 100, who had written the president a letter saying, we will put monthly stimulus checks, fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, that's great news. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee, the same committee you just went over, yes, that same committee, subcommittee, recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow, that's great news. Purple Power, you have to keep those people to their promise, those House Ways and Means members, absolutely. Well, they also gave you a third stimulus check, and they represent them giving you a fifth. That's later in this video. Can we top that? We can. As the president has done it, Biden did it. He oversees 6 weeks ago, met with foreign leaders and signed a ceremonial signature. But the formal signature happened back in the States just a few days ago. It's the global minimum corporate tax rate minimum, the most confusing tongue twister you've ever heard on this channel. And the reason why this is great news is because the confusing thing is not in the fourth stimulus. No joke. Number one, easier to write the fourth stimulus recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing is not in there. Can we top that? We can. In the final 15 minutes of this video, you are going to see a jam-packed recording that goes over the bills, the vote that happened yesterday, the surprise announcement of something slid into the bipartisan overnight that caused me to go on Twitter and say, no, I'm not supporting your bipartisan. How dare you slide that in there? Yeah, they're trying to pull fast ones on even me. Well, not me personally, but you know what I'm talking about. We're going to go over what Chuck has not said. Why were there emergency meetings with Nancy and Bernie Sanders, and who were they talking about? It's not Joe Manchin. It's not Kristen Sinema. Then you're going to see, in a rare occurrence, not a coverage of fifth stimulus, but my insertion of something about rent. I've covered rent for a gazillion videos on this channel, and this is not a subject matter I'm going to leave. So you're going to see me discuss that also after the commercial break. But something more wonderful than that is the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, food, and internet and more, reach out to them. They are salt of the earth. They are separated on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down in the description, and in the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. The volunteers will help you get that rent, that utilities, that internet, and that snap. They're absolutely wonderful individuals. They're salt of the earth. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that big money. I'll be back with you with the surprise announcement of something that really didn't make me happy this morning about what the president did overnight. And also the final 15 minutes of this video, which goes over the shocking developments about forced stimulus. Stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on Mornings LALATE in a special taped broadcast, taped minutes before it airs. This beautiful weekend morning, I'm here because the toast is toast and the butter is buttering, and I'm still here even though there's no bacon. Where's my bacon? Hope you're having a beautiful weekend morning. This is a new broadcast recorded minutes before it airs this weekend morning. I'm so excited for you to join me. Noontime LALATE will be potentially taped as well, even though it is new for today. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this wonderful family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for the enormous subscriber growth this week. I want you to ensure that you stay with me all weekend long because there's a lot of breaking news, folks. I don't want you to disappear Saturday and Sunday, come back on Monday because you'll miss a lot of these details. Also, with that, subscribe. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right into a special broadcast detail that I never have done on this channel until today. Normally in this part of this video, I would go over fifth stimulus, but for today, I'm not doing it. Why? Because of what the president did and did not do overnight. The topic of discussion, rent. If you've been with this channel since day one, you'll recall that in all of 2020, when I was outside recording, the final fifth video every afternoon was called Rent. And I actually said on air many, many times that it was one of the most unwatched, most unpopular shows that I kept on this channel because it was important. I kept it because it was important you knew about eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance and rent aid. And I kept the video, which predated Purple, of course, and Purple Power. I kept it there because it was important for you to know about rent. And I said, I'm going to keep the video because even though it's unpopular, it's important you know about rent. During that scope of that coverage of that series called Rent, I was very animated and very vigorous on my positions about why President Trump should issue an eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance to protect the American people. I pushed, you push. And then on a particular Friday night, the president from his golf course in New Jersey, I believe it was, made an announcement that he was issuing a series of executive orders. One of them was going to be an eviction moratorium. It was a saving grace. But when we looked at the eviction moratorium, it wasn't written yet. Okay. It basically said, I established the authority for someone to go take care of it. To which I said, this was not enough, Mr. President. You need to go more and do it completely. Because it wasn't in itself a complete eviction moratorium executive order. We went about 2 weeks of pushing this purple power, and then we woke up one morning and suddenly the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, suddenly announced, we are taking care of the eviction moratorium. To which everyone said, what? What they did was they took realm through instruction from the president to take care of the eviction moratorium. He had instructed them to take the authority to do it. At the time, I thought it was totally bizarre, made no sense to me, but we went with it. And that became the CDC eviction moratorium. Again, the president started the ball rolling with an attempt to do it by executive order that was not complete, but then Bun kicked it over to the CDC for them to take the ball, to which I always thought it makes no sense that the CDC was doing it. Okay, that CDC eviction moratorium continued throughout much of the fall. It continued into the first days of this president's term in office. As it was going on at the same time, there were federal court challenges to it, saying that it was unlawful for the CDC to do it, which is sort of what I said since day one. It should be done by an executive order from the president where he writes the executive order, not the CDC. And that's what the courts basically were saying as well. Well, what happened? This president, President Biden, did nothing about it. He did nothing in issuing a new executive order. He just kept on rolling over the order of the president before him that was incomplete, and the CDC, which everyone, including myself, thought was weird to begin with. He never wrote an executive order for eviction moratorium. Of course, in his first 2 weeks in office, he wrote over 24 executive orders about climate, about stamps, about everything else, but nothing about you, the renter. So what happened this week? Maxine Waters, who is a Democrat, a long-standing representative for a community here in Los Angeles, that is a lower-income community-based part of Los Angeles, went to Nancy Pelosi in an emergency meeting and said, listen, Nancy, the eviction moratorium is about to end. What's going on with this president? What is going on with our Democrats? Well, the president came out and actually issued a statement about this. This is why I'm particularly recording this. I'm not happy with the statement from the president. He said that the CDC order has been ruled problematic by the courts. Correct. And he said that I don't intend to extend something that's problematic. Well, that's just laziness, Mr. President. You should have just written your own new executive order. If it's done wrong the way before, just do it correctly the way you're going to do it. That's the predecessor who did it wrong. You go do it right. He then said, well, I don't have to do it. The local cities and states can go do it. How many times has this president wanted to do stuff because cities and states don't want to do it? He understands that there's cities and states across the country that are red states versus blue states, and some want to help and some don't want to help. This is the time and effort for you to take care of it. You're not taking care of it. You continue. This is now 3 bunts attempts. First, you've relied upon the predecessor president who did it wrong. Then you are kicking it to the cities and states where you know they're not taking care of it correctly. And this is where I really was not happy about it. He said it's so easy to go get the money, so just go get the money. I'd like every volunteer that's in the live chat to say how difficult it is to get this money. I have volunteers. I've had volunteers on this channel since fall of last year because the money's not easy to get. Why do you think I talk about all these success stories? Because they're success, because it's difficult to get it. I think this is one of the laziest days for this president to simply let the eviction moratorium expire and say, you know what, go get it. Have your cities take care of you. Okay, let's cut back to forced stimulus. Now, forced stimulus, as if I couldn't be a little bit more ramped up. I am, because forced stimulus had a big shocker overnight. I'm getting to that in a second. It's not as horrific as this thing, but it is sort of sneaky. Let's go over for stimulus with some good news to start. First, let's go over the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. That recon agreement is done as to the price tag and as to doing it. Over 2 weeks ago, the leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, had a meeting with the Senate Democrats, and they agreed upon a $3.5 trillion price tag, and they agreed on their price passing with a $3.5 trillion price tag. That meeting, of course, included Kristen Sinema. Her opinions changed by the hour. But that was an agreement at the time. And Senator Tim Kaine said, this is great news. It was great news because all you have to do is slide the amount of money into the different provisions, said Tim Kaine. Well, Bernie Sanders celebrated the price tag of $3.5 trillion, saying that this is a historic day for the American people, saying that all the programs he had fought for are getting paid 100% just short a period of time. He had asked for $7 trillion. Obviously, 3.5 is half the time of $7 trillion. What are some of the provisions of that recon? Here you go. I have some of them for you, not all of them, that have been leaked. And here are some of the checks. Free school meal checks for all, tax-based checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, election checks, closing the digital divide checks. They're going to give free internet to local people across the country where the federal government gives money to cities. And then the cities can run their own internet company and give you free internet. And then come my checks for my workers and also checks for my seniors, clean energy checks. And then my checks for my seniors and my workers, here we go. First, my workers, checks for you, checks for independent contractors, checks for collective bargaining, checks for unions, and then checks for my seniors. Checks for seniors, lowering eligibility age checks, dental checks, vision checks, and hearing care checks. Great news. All right, let's cut over now to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. The bipartisan has had 3 votes in less than a week. What were those 3 votes? The same vote 3 times. Why? Let me explain. The vote that Chuck Schumer called over a week ago was to end discussion on the bipartisan roads and bridges. It's basically to get people going on, moving. It failed initially. I said it was going to fail, but I told you it was going to help get them moving. Then they called the vote again on Wednesday. On Wednesday, it passed. Mitch McConnell was in favor of it. Every Republican was in favor of it. It passed again. And then they called the vote again late yesterday. Why did they call the vote again? To get it moving. All great news. The problem of what I have an issue with is what Chuck Schumer said during that voting process. During that voting process, Chuck Schumer said, I'm very excited that everything for the recon and the bipartisan will be done by the August recess. Yes, now this is great news. But I have to fully represent that he's vague as to everything, what everything refers to, and he's also unclear as to whether he's saying it's going to be on the president's table or just done for the purposes of the Senate. I presume he means on the president's table. But here's what caused me concern, was that in the last week, Chuck Schumer's barely mentioned the recon. Why? Well, even more problematic is that late yesterday and throughout the day before, he said that he believes that the bipartisan roads and bridges will be in bill format by at least this weekend, if not the start of next week, and will be ready for a vote to pass into Senate approval the bipartisan roads and bridges bill. Okay, but what about the recon? Silence. This is why I'm cause of concern. I brought this up yesterday. Why did I also bring this up? Because Bernie Sanders had an emergency meeting with Nancy Pelosi the day before. Did Bernie Sanders see the same cause of concern that I saw? Remember, Bernie Sanders is a senator. He works with Chuck Schumer, a senator. Nancy Pelosi is a House member. Bernie Sanders is going from the Senate over to the House to tell Nancy there's a problem. Is the problem Chuck? Bernie Sanders went to Nancy Pelosi to get assurances from Nancy Pelosi that she has our back. She did. And she's not moving. As Ann, one of the viewers of this channel, says, Nancy's a Spitfire. She's not going to move. This is one of the greatest times that you really want to hope that Nancy Pelosi stays stubborn because she has our back. What's at issue here? The issue is the timing of a vote. There's 2 items we have to deal with. Your money, recon, and the roads and bridges, called the bipartisan. Nancy Pelosi's in the House. Chuck Schumer's in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi's position in the last 48 hours in a published statement is, do not send me the roads and bridges first from the Senate, or I am throwing it in the garbage can. I am only accepting the recon first from the Senate. If you send me the roads and bridges first from the Senate, it's going to the garbage can. Bernie Sanders went to Nancy to get confirmation that's still her position. It is still her position. Thank goodness. She has our back. Bernie has our back. Who doesn't have our back? There's a series of Senate Democrats, yeah, you heard me right, Democrats in the Senate, who have actually said since Thursday, well, since the roads and bridges is almost done, let's finish it and go home and have a wonderful accomplishment to celebrate during the August recess. What? Are you kidding me? Are you a Democrat? You're supposed to be doing the recon as your priority, not fixing our roads before the August recess. I can't believe a Democrat said that. Now, you have those Democrats are saying that. You have Bernie Sanders very worried about that situation and going rushing to Nancy Pelosi to ensure her that she has our back. And then my cause of concern, which is Chuck Schumer. He has not mentioned the recon yet in recent days. Chuck Schumer earlier this month said the recon will go for a vote first in the Senate. Now he's not even mentioning when the recon is going for a vote. To make it even more obvious for you, while Chuck Schumer has had 3 move it along votes or end discussion votes on the bipartisan, he's had 0 on the recon. Excuse me, Chuck? In fact, I thought he was going to do it 2 days ago. In fact, he's polled the Democratic senators and they said, we're in favor of the recon, just advance it. He didn't call the vote on the recon. Why? And then when he says that the bill is ready for a vote for the bipartisan, why not say when the bill is ready for a vote on the recon? What's going on here? So that is why there is an issue of concern for me. I had a wonderful viewer said, LA, I saw your video. I saw exactly what you're talking about. I called up Chuck Schumer's office. I said immediately, call the vote on the recon, Chuck. What are you doing? You need to call the vote on the recon. Absolutely. So social media, people, Purple Power, you need to ensure that Chuck Schumer calls the vote on the recon before the bipartisan in the Senate. Now, here's a new wrinkle. Two wrinkles. First, you saw me overnight start a Twitter campaign against Kristen Sinema, who is trying to do this sort of narrative that roads and bridges need to be done before the August recess and that we'll just get to, the recon whenever. You suddenly see that this is becoming reverse 2020. 2020 was where Republicans were trying to drag their feet so you don't have anything. Now Republicans are trying to zoom ahead of you like it's a sprint to the finish line so that you're left with, so that your stuff doesn't get taken care of. Republicans are trying to rush the roads and bridges to the finish line and leave the recon behind. And they're getting some Democrats to say, the bipartisan is done. Let's just get it done. Well, here may be one of our grounds to slow the bipartisan down. I know a lot of you are not crypto viewers, but some of you are. Well, the surprising detail unfolded last night. Overnight, we learned that the roads and bridges, of which they've not shown us the bill, has a provision in there to tax crypto in a way that has never been taxed before. What? It's a roads and bridges bill. Why is taxing crypto in a roads and bridges bill? Well, the Blockchain Association is absolutely against it. No less than a half a dozen organizations came out violently against this insertion of something about crypto into roads and bridges as an ambush and inserting it on a Friday night so that the bill gets called for a vote on Monday and then no one has any time to lobby against it. So that is why LA went vehemently out on social media and said, LA will not support the bipartisan with this provision in there about crypto. We're not against provisions to regulate crypto, but certainly not in a roads and bridges provision that you sort of ambush us and you put it in there and there's no lobbying ability for us to even have a say for this. This is called ambush legislation. When you search something on Friday night, you call for a vote on Monday. Now, here's what you need to know going into the final minutes of this video. Remember, we have 2 emojis, not bill yet, not law yet. So even if they called this for a vote, this bipartisan, this roads and bridges on Tuesday, it's not law yet. It's not law yet. Because guess what? There's three places they got to go. They got to go to the Senate floor. Then they have to go back to the House. Then they got to go back to the Senate for the vote-a-rama. This is equally true for your recon. Remember, we have an emoji that says not law yet. And it's important to see that when you see that recon bill that has a S on it, it may be imperfect. It may not be correct. You need to push Purple Power because when it's incorrect, those Senate and House Democrats are ready to modify it. In fact, they've been saying it. The Senate, House, and Senate Democrats, the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats have both said they are ready to modify the recon because they've not had their hands on it. The only people that have had their hands on it are a few people in the subcommittee. This is great news for you because you want them to modify it. There's a lot of breaking news, as you see in this video that's already running after 45 minutes. I'll have more about this later today. Coming up next is Noontime LA, a new show just recorded for today. It will not be live, but it will be recorded and it will be new. Then I'm back with you on Afternoons LA with a throwback at 1 o'clock, a new show at 3 o'clock, and a new Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. A lot of breaking news, and you see how things are moving very swiftly. Don't leave me over the weekend because this will be too hard to catch up because there is so much moving across the board. Jump on Twitter and retweet and be part of this campaign to ensure that Chuck does the right thing and to ensure that crypto comes out of roads and bridges. And finally, to ensure that Kristen Sinema understands that we're more important than her road and bridge. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for all your patronage all throughout the day. Coming up next is Noontime LA at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Hawk and Purple Hawk, the link is under the video, and more across the board. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.